So Ponoko is online manufacturing. That's what we do. People send us design files and we send the parts back. And we generate the parts using largely, well, in fact, solely digital fabrication. So we use laser cutters, 3D printers, and CNC routers. So what we set about doing was creating a new type of factory. We thought that was the solution. We thought the solution was that if we could change the way product was manufactured and distributed, we could route round the impending carbon doom that we were seeing. And so our goal was to keep product in a digital format as long as possible, and ideally only instantiate the product at the point of consumption. So ideally the product was produced right next to the consumer, because we saw that as a way of running around that carbon problem. We entered this with all the conceit of software developers, and let's be fair, software developers are, or can be, arrogant people, and I am one of those. And we kind of figured all we needed to do was create this catalogue of digital designs. That's all that was required. We quickly found out that there was a lot more going on here. So we pursued it anyway. We wanted to link the catalogue to materials suppliers. And then we wanted to be able to route the demand for the products through a distributed manufacturing network. Now we've gotten to the point where we can orchestrate any sensible combination of design file and fabrication process. We started off with laser cutting and EPS files. That was the very first offering that we ever had. But we've now gotten to the point where we've created an incredibly flexible system. And that system is based around this concept of networks and nodes. So we produce, or we provision manufacturing networks made up of manufacturing nodes. And those nodes can be distributed or they can be centralized. The reason for that is, again, you know, we kind of did this with the arrogance of entrepreneurs and software developers, but we quickly realized that we needed to play with the traditional market. And so that's why we've also allowed centralized topologies to exist. We've gotten to the point now where a single node can be as simple as a laser cutter or as complex as a car factory. And we do actually have a car company out of Phoenix who is using us. So, you know, we've gotten to the point where we are starting to unleash some really quite novel ways of producing objects. We've also gotten to the point now where we're not just provisioning parts based on the fabrication process, but we're also provisioning parts based on material pick lists or item pick lists. So we've got a good relationship with SparkFun, for instance. So it's entirely possible to specify a product as parts that are laser cut, parts that are 3D printed, but then also Arduino boards. So we've now gotten to that stage as well. And that's really about enabling new forms of creation. We really wanted to give people a platform with which they could engage in a whole new range of product specification, product storage, and inventory management. People are moving, they're iterating so rapidly in this environment that all of a sudden the traditional systems are no longer relevant to them. They're using these systems to behave almost like fashion designers. You know, what we are seeing is that industrial design in this context looks a lot like fashion design. And it's the software guys that are really teaching us that. You know, they're moving fast, they're iterating across the same product or a collection of products incredibly quickly. They're doing it in such a way that in some cases, they're releasing the product online, the design online in an open source manner. They're assuming it's going to get copied. They're just moving fast, you know, and they've got the tools to do that. The risk profile in this space is such that there is no harm in moving fast. You don't have $10,000 worth of units sitting in a shipping container somewhere. you've got $100 of units sitting on your desk. So if you need to change something in the next iteration, you just change the design files, it turns up. So the risk of change for these guys is much, much lower.